Hi, I'm Kurt Buchanan.
And I'm Jackie Wilson.
Son and daughter of Alan and Darlene Buchanan, who are pastors here, starting in 1992. My first introduction to Hillcrest was a board member who traveled out to Grenfell, Saskatchewan, where we were living at the time, to come and talk to Dad about the position here. But I remember coming into our kitchen and my dad introducing me to Ron Francis.
I know Dad came here to preach a little bit and get to know the church.
I remember him mentioning when he was up there on the stage and speaking, he wondered if he should spin the pulpit around backwards and just have the very small crowd in the very empty auditorium just come and sit in the choir loft behind him on the stage.
When it was time to decide, they had both declared that it was going to have to be a 100% unanimous vote to get them to move to Moose Jaw.
There was a vote. The vote from the membership here at Hillcrest was unanimous that they wanted Dad to come and be the pastor here at Hillcrest. I remember being devastated at the idea that we were going to be moving. I also had a sense that this was somehow part of God's plan and that we were gonna be okay. So Dad started, I think, June 1st of 1992. We finished out school in Grenfell throughout the month of June. During that time, we did house shopping and that kind of thing, found a little house, and we're ready to move kind of at the very end of June. But there was a crew from Grenfell who helped us load up and move all of our things to Moose Jaw. And on the other end, there was a team, crew of people from the Hillcrest here in Moose Jaw. They all met together to kind of bring us into Moose Jaw. When we got possession of the house, those two crews met at the house early in the morning and started renovating. They gutted the whole main floor, lath and plaster, and all the rubble and debris was, 3 feet high on the floor, and they hauled it off in grain trucks and that kind of thing. And they got all the way through in one day. They re-insulated, they rewired, and they had drywall going back on by the end of the day. And we certainly felt supported seeing both of the churches, the church Dad was leaving and the church that we were heading into, supporting us in that way.
So when we got here, we felt pretty comfortable because we'd already met quite a few of the other teens and kids that were going to Hillcrest when it was time to go to school. So I remember I was heading to my first day of high school and I was met at the door by one of my friends from Hillcrest, Teresa Forge, who picked me up and we walked down to school together. So even in like the smallest ways, I found like this church was so very welcoming and even included us kids as part of that. When I first came to Hillcrest, I was just going into the youth group, and we're really thankful that Rob and Karen Chartrand were the youth pastors while we were here growing up, because they were super influential in our lives, just from welcoming us into the youth group and then also just spending time talking through all kinds of teen issues, I suppose. And we're just so thankful for the input that they had in our lives, whether it was like coming over and leading our small group with us, Karen did, or if, always the entertaining skits or illustrations that we got from the youth group with Rob.
Rob and Karen certainly had an impact on me too while I was in youth group, but I even thought this is a great couple to learn from. So when I finished my degree through Briarcrest, I was eager to go and do an internship with Rob, and that still impacts me to this day. Scott Francis was also a significant part of my youth group experience. He kind of taught me everything I know about music. In my early days, is picking up the guitar. He was teaching me how to use my ear and how to listen for harmony and that kind of stuff. So early on into my youth group experience, Scott was starting a band called Stinky and the Edge. Jeff Lewis and Steve Watterson, Nick Lamb and Dave Palmer and myself were a part of this band, and we got to lead worship for the youth group and at a number of different camps over the summer, but really appreciated Scott's influence during that period here at Hillcrest. Dad was also passionate about what else was happening here in the community. As Joe's place was getting started and Joe was launching into ministry, and Dad really had an interest in seeing that that ministry was thriving and that Joe was thriving in that ministry, and so he was involved there, and he was the chairman of the board for Joe's Place, as well as chairman of the board for Kettleston Camp, was also passionate about what was happening out there during the summers.
One of the ways that I know my mom used to be quite involved in the church was hosting women's events here, whether it was Bible studies or big Christmas tours through people's homes. She had a really unique way of kind of inviting people from the community to be part of this church and creating an environment or a space that they would feel comfortable in, and kind of also making an event of it.
Well, Jackie and I both grew up and eventually left Moose Jaw for education and pursuing other things. And so we've both spent our time out of Moose Jaw and away from Hillcrest. And even during that time in our lives, we kind of received the support and love of Hillcrest even at a great distance.
Yeah, I remember when I was getting married, there was a bridal shower that was put on here on the one weekend I could probably make it back here in the summer. Baby showers when we got to that stage of life. So we really remember the support of Hillcrest in our family when Mom and Dad were no longer feeling very well and when they were very near to passing away. We felt so much love from the Hillcrest family in the way you cared for them and the way you cared for us, even the meals and just spending time with them while they were hurting. It was just really a beautiful thing to see, and we can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah, it's kind of remarkable to think all the way through, back from the journey to first arriving here through to now being adults in this congregation and serving alongside so many of you, that so many of the values that were present then are present now, and we're grateful, that our kids can be in that environment as well. So thank you, Hillcrest.